Good morning, everyone, and welcome to our first Zoom general membership meeting of 2021. I'm Jody. I'm your education and events manager. So thank you all who have joined. And I'd actually like to start everything off with our 2021 SCCAOR president, Mr. Doug Goss. So welcome, Doug. And again, welcome to everybody who's joined, and we'll get started.
Good morning. Thank you, Jody. And thank you everyone for joining us for our first general membership meeting of the year. Before we get started, we like to start off all of our meetings with the Pledge of Allegiance. So I'd like to introduce our 2020 Realtor of the Year and past SCCAOR president, Mr. Kevin Cole, to lead us in the pledge. Kevin?
Please arise. Please place your hand over your heart. Please join me in reciting the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Kevin, for the pledge. Appreciate it. So welcome, everybody. I'm excited and honored to be your SCCAOR 2021 president, and I'm really looking forward to accomplishing some great things with you this year. Let me just make sure I'm not muted here. We've got some great things we're looking to do this year. A few of my priorities on my agenda are to include strengthening and expanding our relationships with our broker community. That's something that we feel is needed to really build that or bond that relationship between SCCAOR and our broker members. We're going to be responsibly growing the membership to ensure that SCCAOR has the resources needed to provide our members the best-in-class resources and services. We've brought back the education committee this year and really expanding the education offerings this year. Jody is heading that along with Therese Ferrara, who's our committee chair, and also promoting the role SCCAOR plays in protecting our private property rights and increasing opportunities for home ownership. There's a lot of things that we're looking to get accomplished this year, but those are at the top of our list, and I look forward to working with SCCAOR leadership, our board of directors, and our members in getting those accomplished. We've got a lot of great information to share with you today. We're going to start off with representatives from NAR and CAOR to speak on the relationships between NAR, CAOR, and our local association. We'll also get an update on MLS listings and the changes taking place at the MLS level. Our CAR regional rep for SCCAOR will give us an update on what came out of the CAOR winter meetings last week. And finally, we'll wrap it up with a SCCAOR update. Before we go to our first speaker, I'd like to introduce our first corporate sponsor, HomeGuard. They're actually doing an inspection on one of my new listings in Cambrian as I speak. So welcome, Marlon, Ashley, and Antone. Take it away.
Thank you, Doug. Good morning. So HomeGuard, we've been at your service for over 30 years. We do termite property roof inspection, natural hazard, home warranty, and our newest addition is pool inspections. We're a pretty unique company. The best part is when you make the one phone call, you get to order everything at the same time, and we show up at the same time. We do Saturday inspections. There's no extra charge for that. And when you do the 8:30 or the 10:30 time slot, you're going to get your inspections on the same day. Yay. Also, we let you bill the repair work to escrow, which is a plus for your sellers. And Anton, take over.
Thank you, Marlon. So my name is Anton Nguyen. I am the new account manager for Silicon Valley Southeast and Silicon Valley Central. I'd love to get to meet all of you one day once COVID is over. But just to piggyback on what Marlon had said about roof inspections, our roof inspections are 100% FAA licensed drone inspections, so that way there's no damage done to your roof. And we also do natural hazard disclosures. Come speak to our geologist and VP, and he'll let you know all about the new AB 38, which is fireproofing for the house. And last thing I want to mention about our report is that they're all with pictures, so you know exactly what kind of repairs you need to do or don't have to do. And I'll pass it over to Ashley right now.
Thanks, Antone. Well, if there wasn't enough services to choose from between termite, roof, property, natural hazard disclosures, we also do home warranty. And we are filled with great resources on our websites. So for Home Guard Home Warranty, it'd be hghw.com. For anything inspections end, it's just homeguard.com. We're filled with great videos to show your agents on how to best prepare your home. With our home warranty, we have a 13-month policy and agent resource center. So we really encourage you guys to go ahead and check that out. We really appreciate being here today. And we are always here as a resource for you. And we are eagerly waiting your call.
Great, thank you guys. Next, I'd like to introduce our next corporate sponsor, Off Price Carpet. I will tell you, these guys are great in their installation, their customer service, and their prices can't be beat. They just replaced carpet on 2 of my new listings in Almaden Valley, and they're actually doing one of my rental properties out in Aptos. So I highly recommend them, and I'll introduce Josh Roughton from Off Price Carpet. Josh, it's all yours. You're muted, Josh.
There we go. Am I unmuted? Okay, there we go. Well, thank you, Doug, for those nice words. I don't know if I need to even say anything. Thank you for the great commercial, but I am Josh Roughton. I'm from Off Price Carpets. I'll just tell a bit about what we do. We do a lot of flooring for realtors. In fact, we dedicate part of our stock just for you guys. And as a special deal for realtors and your clients, we can be paid out of escrow. We don't need any money up front, and that's just for SCCAOR members and SCCAOR members only. So make sure and mention that in your next time. So yeah, if you need anything done on your floor, carpet, hardwood, tile, anything, we're ready to go. Again, we appreciate your time here, and we are really honored to be a SCCAOR sponsor.
Great, thanks, Josh. Appreciate it. Now I'd like to introduce our first speaker of the day, Tommy Choi. Tommy is the National Association of Realtors 2021 Vice President of Association of Affairs. In 2019, Tommy served as President of the Chicago Association of Realtors, and in 2020, he was named Chicago Association Realtor of the Year. Welcome, Tommy.
Doug, thanks for having me, and I love that all the sponsors you actually use and implement into your business, right? You got to leverage those relationships, and much love to those sponsors for stepping up and believing in our association. Absolutely. One thing I always have to point out, right, to any sponsor, how you get your foot in the door with any realtor is, remember, realtor is 2 syllables, realtor. That's a big thing, right? But thank you for your warm welcome, Doug. And I have to underscore the word warm because, as you mentioned, I'm in Chicago, and this weekend I was shoveling 13, 14 inches of snow that we received. And that's not even including the drift that comes off the rooftops and the trees. So, I'm wishing I was in the San Jose area with you all in person, but this will have to do. I'm imagining warm weather. Grateful. Yeah, no, grateful again. And thank you for inviting me and having me here. As Doug mentioned, I am the National Association of Realtors Vice President of Association Affairs, and I get to serve on the 2021 leadership team, guided by our very own president, Charlie Appler from New Jersey. So what does that mean? That's one thing that people are like, okay, so Vice President of Association Affairs, what is your role? Well, basically, in a nutshell, I get to oversee all the association side committees and the liaisons that are the conduit between the leadership team and the committee chairs, vice chairs, and all the committee work that gets done that support the association side, right? Some of my favorite committees that I once served on are advisory boards and committees, but, conference meetings, the strategic thinking groups, YPN. So a lot of these groups on the association affairs side, I get to be a part of and help bridge the gap into initiatives that support our industry. And, the other piece of this, really, I know we want to discuss how at a local level, right, we can, you all can connect with not just leadership at a national level, but all the work that is being done. And I think the biggest thing and the biggest part of my foundational piece when it comes to servant leadership that we're all doing, but also in the business world too, has been relationship building, right? That's the biggest key. And that's where I really want to empower all of you and also give you the access to be able to build this relationship, because these channels that I'm going to share with you, and you may very well know about these, and some of these you may not. It really helps as local leaders to facilitate this two-way conversation and communication between local and national, right? And so the first thing is the Executive Outreach Program, which was created really to strengthen the relationship and improve communication between NAR and all of its 1.4 million members. You know, through this program, and thank you, Jody, for posting the link, members have a direct point of contact at NAR and NAR staff vice presidents. You know, each staff vice president is assigned to one of the 13 regions that we have carved out nationally here through the association. So most regions have 2 VPs, right, that you can call your own, that you can reach out to. These leaders can contact any VP to respond to any questions or clarify any information or key issues that you may have. As members too, you can also invite NAR staff VPs to address your region or your association, albeit virtually for now, when you need any high-level expertise or something, you know, from the 30,000-foot view. So don't hesitate to use that resource, because it is a huge resource and a tool, and they are here to serve your needs. And once again, act as a sounding board to be able to share your concerns that you're seeing locally to make sure that that information gets spread and trickled up. And I appreciate that link being shared. It should be in the chat box right now. The NAR staff VPs also will coordinate with your regional vice president, right? RVPs, giving you even more representation at the national level. The second way, right, perfect segue, are the regional vice presidents. There are 13 RVPs for each region that we have in the US. They're appointed to oversee the work of the National Association, and they represent the NAR president in their region. So you have direct communication to Charlie through the RVPs as well. In addition to serving as a spokesperson for the association, the RVPs identifies opportunities and challenges within the region and help address those wherever and whenever possible. Remember, it's a two-way street. And so make sure you take advantage of that, right? Because the RVPs will attend your state conventions as well as the 2 NAR annual meetings as well. So fingers crossed that we'll be in San Diego in person here too. And as you may or may not know, I think Jody have put that in the chat as well. You have an amazing RVP and Chris Kutsky, who represents Region 13. So make sure that you do have direct access to him. So make sure to take advantage of him, invite him to anything that you need, especially in this virtual world, that he can give you a high level look at what Charlie's initiatives are and what we're doing for our industry. You know, and I had to briefly mention too another resource, the Realtor Party Travel Team, which Christian is here, and he's going to discuss more of that from the Realtor Party side. So I'm not going to, you know, spoiler alert, step on his toes here, but the association staff, your association staff can also request Realtor Party team members to come directly to you virtually for now to speak on advocacy at any meetings or events or fundraisers that you're having. Each of the 9 travel team members are knowledgeable on various aspects of the Realtor Party, such as fundraising, community outreach, and federal issues. That's a great place for you to share what's going on locally that we need to pay attention to for advocacy reasons. And that way that message will get sent back to DC and Shannon and her team as well. Third way to get your questions answered, right, is through the local and state ideas exchange that's held at the legislative meetings in May and also at the annual conference. Your volunteer leaders bring member questions, right, and issues to the exchange. So Doug will be the one presenting these things in his idea exchange room, right? And it's divided into small, medium, and large boards. So it's really important that you can share those as a conduit through Doug in that forum. At the exchanges, NAR officers, including the president and Bob Goldberg, the CEO, are there to help answer those questions directly. So you have, once again, direct access, right? And a representative from the board then passes along those insights to their members. The fourth piece is the Leadership Summit, which is an annual educational and motivational meeting held in August in my hometown, Chicago, which August is the right time to be coming to Chicago. This year we had to do it virtually. And the beauty in that, while I miss seeing everyone and welcoming everyone to my hometown, was that we were able to cast a wider net and invite more people, extended leadership teams locally. So, your state and local association leadership attend and they share ideas, they take leadership training, they learn about NAR strategic priorities for the coming year from the president-elect, now President Charlie Appler. So it's a really great networking event for your board leadership and your association executive to share challenges and questions and bring information back to you, the member. And finally, and the last one, and any one of you that's involved with any national committee is not new to the hub. And so the hub, I know we get so many emails and messages from the hub, but it really is a great place to disseminate information and soak in content, right? That's where state and local volunteer leaders, NAR committee members, presidential advisory groups, right? We call those PAGs, and NAR staff who support each group, right? They exchange information through this platform. It's private, it's secure, right? Volunteer leaders collaborate, they ask questions and share info with each other year round on behalf of their members. So it's a really key way for your leaders to stay plugged in about NAR resources and priorities, and a really good opportunity to bubble up members key questions, right? But I'll tell you what, the most important thing, right? All those are tools, right? And just like any tool, like a hammer, it doesn't do any good unless someone picks that up and swings it at a nail, right? And strikes the nail. So you as a member, that's your call to action to really take initiative and use these tools to be able to connect with us. And why I bring this up is because, on my drive to the office here today, after I took about 90 minutes this morning shoveling a path out of my driveway in my alley, because we don't plow alleys in the city of Chicago. One of my favorite bands of all time, the Talking Heads, came on the radio, and one of my favorite songs of theirs is Once in a Lifetime, and it's a really popular song, so maybe you've heard it. But why I love this song, right? It's one of my favorite songs because the lyric that ends the first verse, right? It's a powerful question. And David Byrne, the lead singer, right, Rhode Island native, he says, and you may ask yourself, well, how did I get here? And that's such a powerful question, right? Because it's such a self-reflective question. And how often do we ask that? How did I get here? Right? So I really encourage you all to take some time and reflect on that question. How did you get here? Who helped you? Who is that person that extended that hand to you when you were on the ground, right? Who lended you a shoulder and an ear when you needed someone to listen, right? Or a place to rest. When I think about that question, and this morning, as I was on my way to the office and looking at my calendar and remembering I get to spend a couple minutes with you, I thought about the leadership journey, right? I think about all the little things that have happened to me that ended up resulting in big moments in my life, right? Like Doug had mentioned, being Realtor of the Year in the past, president of the Chicago Association of Realtors, right? I was 135th president, but the first Korean American president in our 135-year history. Those are all results that happened from small moments that led up to that. And when I think about it, my greatest achievements were the results of small beginnings. And this topic is discussed in one of my favorite books too. It's called The One Thing. And in that book, they call this the domino effect, right? And a domino, right, on its own, it stands 2 inches tall. And it weighs about roughly the same about like a box of matches, right? Not too heavy. It really isn't much. However, the force that this small domino creates when pushed over can knock over another one that's a 1.5 times its size, 1.5 bigger than this, right? This chain reaction of force can compound into knocking over the equivalent of the Eiffel Tower in its 23rd iteration, all from the small beginnings of a 2-inch domino. And I share this with you, and I thought about this because, as I mentioned, right, as you prepare for your year as servant leaders, we are all servant leaders. My biggest takeaway for you when we talk about how we can go from the local to the national level from a standpoint of what's going on in your market, right? Hot topics, things that are important to you, right? My biggest takeaway for you is that we are all this 2-inch domino. The way we treat each other, the way we treat our clients and our industry, it'll set off a chain reaction of force that will compound into something big. And that's a fact. You can't argue with that because that's physics. The power we have as leaders is a choice of positivity or negativity, in which we want our energy to compound and ultimately set off that chain reaction. And I empower all of us to remember this, right? Next time we interact, whether it's at a committee meeting, a board meeting, at a conference, right? Or if it's during negotiations or a showing, we are each other's first domino. And so nothing happens at a national level without you, without us at the local level. That first domino setting off that chain reaction. Be grateful for this opportunity that will allow you and us to be that domino this year for your, not just association and membership, but for our industry. And be grateful for all the dominoes in your life that you have that have paved the path that led you to this opportunity, right? That is truly once in a lifetime. I'm so grateful for you allowing me to be here to share a little bit with you. Please don't ever hesitate to reach out to me directly. My contact information will be shared to you. Hit me up on Facebook, Instagram, wherever, Clubhouse. I want to be that conduit, right? Allow me to be a domino for you. And I wish you all nothing but continued success this year and a healthy and happy 2021. Thanks for having me.
Hey, thank you, Tommy. That was great. You mentioned the hub. There's lots of great information and ideas that come through the hub, and yeah, I'm glad that I'm now part of that, and I have been since last year. I enjoy reading all the threads and just keeping up on what's going on at the NAR level. So thank you for mentioning that, and thank you for presenting to us. Next, I'd like to introduce Christian Hoysrad. Christian is a political representative for NAR and serves as NAR's liaison to state and local realtor associations, including California. So please welcome Christian.
Hey, Doug, thank you so much. Pleasure to join you all. from a equally snowy Washington, D.C. In comparison to Chicago. Typically, our Chicago office is the one buried under snow, but today D.C. is getting its own wintry mix. But nothing compared to what's going on in Texas. But in any event, I'm again happy to join you all today. As Doug mentioned, I am NAR's political representative for the state of California. In my role, I serve on a team of 6 political representatives who cover different regions across the country. And we serve as NAR's primary liaison to state and local associations all across the country. So for me as political representative, my territory includes the 6 New England states, as well as California, Hawaii, and Guam on the West Coast. As your poll rep, I'm responsible for keeping all of my state and local associations updated on NAR's advocacy efforts here in Washington. And I also am responsible for implementing NAR and RPAC's political programs in support of candidates for federal office during election years. Generally speaking, despite focusing primarily on policy and campaigns for NAR, I actually consider myself a concierge for anything related to NAR as needed from either state associations or local associations. I actually joined NAR's team after having worked as a local association staffer for a realtor board in Massachusetts. I previously served as a local government affairs manager and professional services manager, as well as an RPAC fundraiser. As you all know, your local association staffers wear a lot of hats. So I served in those roles for the North Shore Association of Realtors, just north of Boston, in Massachusetts. And so I began my career within the realtor family, interacting and serving realtor members every day. And so, I know firsthand how hard you all work and how hard your local association staff works for you on a daily basis. Coincidentally, when I first became a realtor association staffer, I actually went through NAR orientation with your association's former government affairs director, Chrissy Garavaglia, who now is one of my colleagues here at NAR's office in DC. So needless to say, the realtor family is a small little world. All that being said, the most important thing to take away from this is that I'm here to help your association, your members, and your staff with anything and everything related to NAR. I work closely with your current government affairs director, Tim Bobian, in terms of just communicating what NAR is up to here in Washington and what we're looking to do to support realtor members within your association. So with that being said, I know we're kind of focusing on, what the connection is between NAR and states and locals. And so I think probably the best place to start is by just talking about this sort of umbrella program called the Realtor Party, which I'm sure many of you are aware of. So about 10 or so years ago, NAR aligned all of our national, state, and local resources for advocacy specifically under the umbrella of the Realtor Party. Essentially, NAR wanted to streamline all of our programs to make them readily available for state and local associations to advance their own advocacy priorities in state houses and city or town halls across the country. And it's important to understand that all of these resources that NAR provides to state and locals are funded through your individual RPAC contributions, which is why RPAC fundraising is, such a critical component in terms of what you do as members in supporting these efforts, so that our local, state, and national associations can help promote and protect the housing industry. So what are your RPAC contributions fund, and what kind of programs does the Realtor Party offer to local associations like yours? One of these programs that I think is one of the most fundamental programs that I actually utilized when I was a local association staffer are our Realtor Party community outreach grants. And these are grants that are designed to help your local association engage in addressing affordable housing challenges, community planning and development issues, revitalization opportunities, fair housing education initiatives and activities in that regard. So essentially, NAR has created all of these outreach programs to, one, drive funding and support right down to the local level, and to give you all tools and programs that you can implement at the local level to really engage in the issues that are so critical at the local level, to the real estate industry, and also gives you all kind of a step in the door in terms of partnering with local organizations and your local elected officials, and really kind of highlighting and emphasizing, the housing priorities that are most important to both homeowners as well as realtors and your businesses. One other program I'd like to highlight from the Realtor Party is also our Realtor Party Issues Mobilization Grant Program. These issue mobilization grants actually provide financial assistance to both state and local associations to support effective advocacy campaigns on public policy issues. So, for example, if you have a local ordinance or a local ballot initiative that realtors and your association either want to support or oppose, NAR actually has this terrific program where your local association can apply for a grant, and NAR will provide a ton of funding up to a certain level to help implement a campaign either in support or opposition to whatever measure that you're facing. And what's great about this is that our staff at NAR will actually work with the local association staff and your local members to develop a budget and actually develop an entire campaign plan with mailers and phone calls and text messages and a website and social media ads, anything and everything to the extent that your local association wants in terms of, working to either, again, support or oppose a local measure. So, as a former local association staffer, this program was super critical and important in terms of the work that we did, and again, is available to local associations all across the country, including yours. One other program that I'd like to highlight among our Realtor Party services is also our state and local independent expenditure program. This program assists state and local associations that specifically want to get involved in support of a local or state candidate campaign. And so essentially this program provides each local association with funds that can be used to support a specific candidate for political office who supports realtors and the real estate industry. And again, much like the Issues Mobilization Program, your local association can actually apply for these funds, and our NAR staff will work directly with your local staff to, again, put together a budget and a full campaign plan in terms of supporting a particular candidate for, city council or county commission with mailers and emails and social media ads. And so again, these programs really kind of, it's your return on investment. Anyone who's giving to RPAC, really, this is where your return on investment really comes to fruition in terms of bringing those RPAC dollars back to efforts within your communities. And then finally, I'll just touch upon kind of, how NAR interacts with state and locals with regard to our federal policy and election decisions. And really, again, the most important thing to know is that all decisions, whether it's on legislation, issue areas, or candidates for federal office, in terms of what NAR decides to support, they are all reviewed and approved by your realtor peers. NAR has dozens of national policy committees who meet throughout the year to provide input on NAR's advocacy as well as our political priorities. And so, kind of along with that, we have a national RPAC board of trustees, and they, like the policy side of things, review and approve all decisions regarding support for candidates on the RPAC side of things. And so NAR does not choose to support a candidate or support a policy issue just in this vacuum of DC. We actually work and engage with realtors at the local and state level to actually make decisions on these things and make sure that we are reflecting the best interests of and the needs of realtors at the local and state level. And so with regard to federal elections, and I'll just speak a little more on it because that's sort of my primary role as your political rep. I actually work very closely with your Region 13 RPAC trustee, a guy by the name of Jim Liptak, who just happens to have served as a past CAOR president. He is the Region 13, so California, Hawaii, Guam. He is your representative on the national RPAC trustees. He works with your state RPAC trustees to discuss and consider support for federal candidates based on their voting records, their engagement with state and local associations, as well as any committee assignments or special efforts that they've made in terms of helping realtors and our businesses. And to kind of like bring it all the way back home to your local association, NAR connects our federal policy and lobbying teams sort of through local realtors via a program called our Federal Political Coordinator Program, otherwise known as our FPC program. These FPCs, Federal Political Coordinators, are specifically selected by NAR's president to serve as the direct liaisons between NAR and their member of Congress. And so instead of NAR and a advocacy organ, DC, being the face of our advocacy efforts, we actually appoint constituents of that member of Congress who are realtors to serve as NAR's voice, and they help represent the priorities of realtors at all levels of our association. And I'd like to just recognize among your association, Barbara Limberis and Joseph Weinstein. They serve as two fabulous FPCs for your local members of Congress, Zoe Lofgren and Congressman Ro Khanna. And so they just kind of represent the full connection from local association to federal association. And, for any member of NAR at the local level, who has questions or is looking to make their voice heard. We have multiple outlets, as Tommy was referencing, in terms of, providing a two-way street of communication. And at the end of the day, again, your realtor peers are helping guide NAR in kind of in forming and framing our advocacy efforts at the federal level. So again, I'll just wrap up by saying that I am here again as your concierge, and if there is ever anything that I can do for you and your businesses, please just either contact me directly. You can go through Tim, but again, I'm here from NAR's advocacy team to make sure that we're doing everything you all need in terms of promoting and protecting your businesses at the local level.
Great. Thank you, Christian. And thanks for all you do in advocacy for our industry and protecting our private property rights, along with all of our GADs, including our own Tim Bobian. And thank you for pointing out how important it is for our members to contribute to RPAC. I'm disappointed that our conference has been canceled twice already, and hopefully we'll see you in Florida in June.
Absolutely.
Say hi to Chrissy for us.
I sure will.
Next, we have Sean Bellick from CAR. Sean serves as the Government Affairs Field Representative and Local Issues Coordinator for CAR. Welcome again, Sean. Happy to have you here.
Thank you, Mr. President. Happy to be here for the first Santa Clara County Association of Realtors General Membership meeting. Always happy to be with you guys. I live up in Sonoma, and I represent an area for CAR in their Government Affairs Department that mainly covers the coastline going from Central California, Pismo Beach, all the way up to the Oregon border, and kind of in between Interstate 5 and everything west of that. So if you look over my shoulders here, you'll see a list of my territory, our local associations, including yours. And briefly, or technically, I guess, my title with CAR is Government Affairs Field Representative slash Local Issues Coordinator. A lot of ink on the old business cards, which really are kind of don't have a use anymore. I've got a stack of business cards, don't plan on using them. So the first part of my job is the Government Affairs Field Representative. I act as a liaison, if you will, between our team of lobbyists up at Sacramento and you all, the membership, and give you an update on what's happening legislatively at the Capitol with housing. Real estate covers so many different areas, not only housing, but the environment, business and professions code, on and on and on. So we not only keep you up to date on bills that will either hurt or help your business and impact it in some way, but we also sponsor legislation as well. And every year we have a number of bills that we sponsor and bring through the legislature. And we have a pretty good track record of getting them signed by the governor too. We always, every year, at least have a few bills that get signed into law to help you guys do business. So that's a big part of my job, is acting as the liaison, if you will, between our legislative team and also the membership. The other half of that is I work directly with local associations as a local issues coordinator. And the local issues coordinator position is something that I do statewide. And it mainly comes into play with the smaller associations that don't have a sophisticated government affairs program or a full-time GAD position. And I really help them with their issue advocacy, whether it's lobbying the local city council on maybe a transfer tax, or maybe there is a vacation rental ban ordinance that's happening in their town, whatever the issue may be. As Christian indicated with NAR, CAR also has a number of resources available to help them. One of them is my position as the coordinator. I can help gather all these different grants and resources available to them, so that it can really lay out the options for the local association on how to tackle an advocacy issue. Just to give you an example, the campaign I worked on up in Lake Tahoe, actually surrounding vacation rentals, it was essentially a referendum. They had a vacation rental ban put in place. And when I came in on the picture to help them out, we were at the initial stages of interpreting this ban, and we quickly, with the help of NAR and also CAR, gathered, roughly $1 million to fight this campaign and oppose the ban on vacation rentals. Part of my services with them, helped writing the referendum, gathering signatures, hiring a campaign consultant, helping them run the campaign, the grassroots mobilization of that campaign, developing different policy arguments for associations. So it's a really kind of a full service feature, particularly for those local associations that don't have the resources such as yours. Just to touch on some of the grants, I know Christian laid out NARs, and I can tell you that we work hand in hand. I think I've gathered several $1 million at least from NAR for local associations in California to work on campaigns, including your association. And they have the issues mobilization grants. And at CAR, we have something similar called the same thing, actually, issue mobilization grant. And we have statewide trustees that are realtors, and they will hear from local associations throughout the year about what they need money for to fight with their local government or elections or things like that. Strictly issue propositions, local measures, that type of thing. CAR also assists local associations with local candidate support. So local candidate is anything other than state or federal. So from dog catcher up to the mayor or county supervisor. We help local associations set aside money every year based on your contributions to basically support candidates Both Republicans and Democrats, we say, as you see over my head here, we support the Realtor Party. But if you have local candidates that you want to help promote and get elected, we can give them direct candidate contributions through your local candidate recommendation committee. We can also go above and beyond and do things such as independent expenditures and putting mail out on their behalf, and even hiring, district or grassroots mobilization people to do precinct walking, billboards, mobile ads on digital, ads for campaigns. Reuse that money to do a number of different things to support candidates. So there's a lot of different routes that we can do on that. Just to note, though, on state candidates are chosen by CAOR CREPAC trustees, and those trustees meet regularly, and with input from local associations such as yours, we actually decide who to contribute to at the state legislative races. And again, the local legislative races, you guys handle through your local candidate recommendation committee, and then any federal elected officials, such as our members of Congress and then the US Senate, those are handled by NAR. Their decisions are based on recommendations that CAR gives for California Congress representatives, and then NAR usually pretty much follows in tow with what our recommendations are. Christian mentioned the federal key, or political coordinator, FPC. That position, it works as a kind of like our direct liaison between the legislator, or the congressperson, and the organization. We have the same thing at the state level. We call those our key contacts. So all 120 legislators in California have at least one realtor assigned to them that has a special relationship with them. And we use the key contacts frequently to help us lobby on these positions that impact real estate here. Let's see, I'm just looking here. We have another program in addition to the candidate support that I mentioned, that is called Op Growth, and recognizing the limited supply of housing in California and the persistent NIMBYism that has kind of shaded our local government and has really put a stop to a lot of the housing production that we need. If there is someone in office at the local level that is anti-growth, anti-housing, we want to know about that. And we have actually a whole nother grant that we will actually hire a consultant to do the whole campaign, send out all the mail, and try to take down that person if your local association so wishes. So trying to think if there's anything else here that I missed. I'm going to go ahead and give you guys my email here in the chat. It's Sean B, SEANB as a boy, @CAR.org. The other thing I want to plug is our website, CAR.org. I encourage you all to go to the political advocacy tab and look, and we will have updates at both the state legislation and also federal legislation in conjunction with NAR. But please visit those sites, and we give a weekly update on what's moving through the legislature that impacts real estate, on key bills that we are also sponsoring too. So you can get a good grasp on what's happening at the legislative level. So let me just check my timer. I think we're getting close to the 10-minute mark that I had. So I think I'll turn it back over to you, Doug, for the sake of time. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Sean. And thank you again, Tommy and Christian. What we'd like to do now is just open it up to the members for Q&A. Jody, are there any messages in the Q&A that we would like to go over?
Sure. There was one question, and I'm not sure, Christian or Sean, if you can answer this. I know Tommy had to jump off, but does one region have more pull, if you will, at the NAR level based on membership? So membership numbers. So if it's divided into the different regions, if one region has more members, does it have more of a say, if you will?
Yeah, I'm happy to touch on that, Jody. In terms of having a say, I mean, our volunteer leadership structure, it is meant to be representative, just like our representative democracy, right? In government. And so I wouldn't say that any particular region has like a larger say just because of their membership, but I will note that in terms of the resources deployed to different regions of the country in different states, that certainly is impacted by the size of membership. For example, last election cycle, for the general election in November, NAR, in partnership with our RPAC trustees and the California CREPAC trustees, we ended up deploying a number of programs in support of the reelection of several candidates at the federal level for Congress. And among my territory, I can tell you California had absolutely the most the most campaigns going on by far compared to the rest of my region, as well as in comparison to other states. So certainly when it comes to resources and just having more members, California, for example, definitely I think receives a good amount of return on your investment. And yeah, so I'll just leave it at that.
Thank you. And I think that was kind of one of the other questions you talked about. Can you highlight maybe, again, high level between Sean and Christian at the national and the local level? What are some of the things that have gotten passed and some of the major victories as a result of those RPAC and RAF contributions?
Yeah, I can. Do you want me to? Or do you want to go first, Christian? Either way.
Yeah, Sean, why don't you give some state examples, and then I can chime in with some federal.
Sure. Well, I can tell you, CAR is by hands down. You ask anyone that's a policy wonk up in Sacramento, CAR is the most successful business advocacy group in California by far. And that says a lot about you guys and our membership, and not only the contributions that you do, but also the grassroots involvement that we have through our red alerts and that kind of thing. So our ability to leverage our 200,000 plus members statewide and to get them to focus on red alerts, and then also our ability to raise money in campaigns really puts us in the forefront. And I wish with on the supply side we could be a little bit more influential, and you're starting to see some measures that we are supporting at the state level that will focus on that. Last year was kind of a pass, but really we're hoping to get a lot of bills signed that will address the supply side. In the past, we have been very successful in a number of different things. Most recently, although we've taken kind of a hit with COVID and the tenant protection side of things, but rent control. We have managed to stave off rent control statewide up until basically last year when this whole COVID thing happened, and they signed that emergency legislation that basically put rent control and just cause eviction statewide. But that's been going on since the 70s in California. And CAR has fought hard to keep that off the books. Another example is Proposition 19, which we just got passed in California. Is a statewide ballot proposition, allows seniors, fire victims, and disabled homeowners to transfer their property tax base to a new home for any price anywhere in California for 3 times. That is a huge accomplishment. The fact that we were able to write the proposition, get the signatures, and get it to the finish line for a win was huge. You don't see a lot of business groups advocating these types of measures statewide and being successful in a state like California, where it's very liberal and progressive. So for more on what our specific achievements were, again, go to CAR.org under political advocacy, and you can look under our state legislative program to see what were specific bill victories and so on and so forth. Thank you.
And when you do go to CAR.org, I was going to put the link in the chat box, and I realized it's the third little tab over market data, MLS, pro standards, and in political advocacy, if you would like to look at some of those things. So is there like a percentage that you guys could use of, we supported, 15 candidates and this percentage of them were actually voted in?
Yeah, we're usually in the high 90s for state reps. I don't have the number for local associations because that's in the thousands of different candidates, although that's something that it'd be interesting to see. But as far as state senators and local assembly members, I think last election we won 98% of the races that we entered.
There's a question about, oh, sorry, go ahead, Christian.
Oh yeah, no worries. I'll just be quick. On the national level, y'all should be aware that NAR is not only the largest advocacy org in terms of lobbying. We actually knocked the U.S. Chamber of Commerce out of the #1 spot last year. So we now are the reigning champs in terms of lobbying in Washington as of 2020. Our PAC is also the largest and the most bipartisan political action committee in DC. And so in 2020, for example, 51% of our contributions went to Democrats, 49% went to Republicans. I think like CAOR and their support of candidates, we are an incumbent-friendly organization as long as that incumbent is voting the right way and advocating on behalf of NAR's federal legislative agenda. And so I think like CAOR, our win percentage is pretty high in the 90s. But when it comes to competitive races where we invest additional resources in support of candidates, despite the fact that we do put our neck out often and kind of take some political risks. And last year, for example, in 2020, among our California races, we ended up, I think, we won 15 out of our 18 what we call opportunity races in support of pro-housing candidates. So 15 out of 18 is a pretty good record on the federal level. And in terms of kind of like, just some recent victories, just to kind of illustrate, how powerful our advocacy org is because of our 1.4 million members across the country. In the early days of the pandemic, we basically, our advocacy team put together a list of the priorities legislatively we thought would be needed to support our members and keep their businesses afloat. We put them into formal letters to each member of Congress and congressional leadership. And thanks to our efforts and subsequent, virtual lobbying, we were able to secure a number of things that I think helped keep all of our members afloat, including the designation of real estate as an essential business. That was top priority. But then also many of the provisions included within the initial CARES Act, the original COVID relief bill, we were able to work our pre-existing relationships, thanks to our PAC, to make sure that our realtors were included. For example, the stimulus checks, when they were first being discussed, they were only talking about W-2 tax filers. We made sure that 1099 independent contractors would also be eligible for those stimulus checks. Those are individual conversations we had with congressional leadership. The eligibility of independent contractors for pandemic unemployment assistance. I can tell you, I represent Maine as part of my New England territory. And Senator Susan Collins, who was one of the primary authors of the CARES Act, she actually reached out through one of her staffers whose mother is a realtor in Maine, who connected that staffer with the Maine realtor CEO, who then reached out to me. I connected them with our legal counsel. And I can tell you the language included in the CARES Act that makes independent contractors eligible for pandemic unemployment assistance, that language was crafted and suggested directly from NAR. And so, those are just just one of many examples of really the lobbying power that NAR holds here in Washington, and what we can do to make sure that you all are taken care of.
Thank you. I have one more question, and I'm not sure if you guys can ask this, and we may need to bubble this up maybe to Chris, who's our regional Chair, but there's always a question of where do my membership dues go? Not the RPAC and the REF contributions. And how can the members have a voice if they're seeing things that maybe they don't agree with, or they want something different to happen? How can they have a voice in that?
Want to take a stab at that first, Christian? Yeah, so as far as our advocacy money goes, a good portion of them do come from your dues. I think it's roughly $50 or $60 now, is the what do you call it? The not the voluntary assessment, but the mandatory assessment is around $60. It was $49, but then we got rid of a couple political advocacy fees that were around $20, and so now I think it's they added 20 to the 49. But other than that, as far as like our federal money goes, and Christian can back this up, all of that money for campaigns has to come from voluntary contributions, right? And in California, for local and state contributions, the money that we use is a combination of that the mandatory assessment and then the voluntary Realtor Action Fund money that comes in. Now, to address your question about how can we have an input on how that money's spent, well, it's simple. It's get involved. Staff is not making these decisions. It's not one person in a boardroom, smoking a big fat cigar and saying this. We take our policy direction from our membership. So if it's at the local level and you are concerned about a local measure, a transfer tax, or a point of sale item, or even a local candidate, I would consult with either your local government committee at Santa Clara Association or their local candidate recommendation committee and see about maybe getting a seat at the table there, or voicing your input for those decisions there. At the state level, we take input from our local associations. So if you have a state candidate that you want us to know about or have concerns, by all means, let us know, and we can also give you updates too. If you all this information is public. If you go to the state secretary website, you can see exactly how much money candidates are getting from CAR, but we can help give you a direct answer as well.
Thank you. There's a lot more questions in here, and I want to make sure we have time for our whole agenda. Sean and Christian, if you guys are able to hang on till the end, and if we can get through everything, because we still have some updates from last week's CAR meetings and MLS, maybe we can get to some of those questions. So we'll pause for now, and I'll turn it back over to Doug.
Great, thanks, Jody. And thank you, Tommy, Christian, and Sean for joining us this morning. And to all of our members out there who are out there selling real estate, these are the guys you can thank for advocating to have real estate deemed an essential service and allow us to continue to work and make a living during this pandemic. And for those of you who are interested in getting involved politically, we do have two committees at SCORE, LGR, our local government relations, and LCRC, which is our local candidate recommendation committee, that you're all welcome to reach out to us, and we can see if we can get you involved in those two committees. Next on our agenda, we have an update from MLS listings with Mark Messimer. A lot going on with MLS listings right now. So Mark, welcome.
There we go. Hey, thank you, Doug, Mr. President. Congratulations once again. Nice to be here. Yeah, a lot going on. I'm gonna keep this short though, because we've got an opportunity coming up this upcoming Monday for folks to really dive into what's going on at the MLS. So I want to make sure. There we go. So one of the newest things we've started in our partnership with SCORE is Jody and the education team have started up a new thing called MLS Mondays. Once a month, I come on, we talk training, we talk new product. In this case, this upcoming Monday, bringing on Dave Wetzel, our president and CEO, and we're going to talk about your data. We're going to talk about, because that's an asset to your broker and to yourself as an agent. And it makes, listings are what make the MLS, a multiple listing service. So Dave's going to come on and talk about how we work with those public websites, the Zillows, the Trulias, the Realtor.coms, to help protect your data. There have been, some situations over time where, we've had to go in and make sure that the data is correct. What's showing is what you put in. So we want to talk about those, but we also open it up for you to ask Dave questions as well. So this upcoming Monday, the 22nd at 1 o'clock, you go to SCCAOR.com and there's the Zoom link, and come over and join us and really, dive right into the MLS, as they say. And of course, I wanted to point out our new Community Home Pro page. This is where you can get help 24 hours a day. Yes, my team is out there training. We've got the webinars. We've got a complete video library. But this is, it's 9:30 at night. What did Mark say about the new members only thing? This is where you can come. You get to it really simply and once you get there, you're gonna get the videos. You're gonna get the FAQs, things to print, rules, do's and don'ts. Interviews, that kind of stuff, to help out literally on any topic that takes place within the MLS, whether it's policy, product, services. It's here on the Pro Community site. How do you get to it? Top of every single page at pro.mlslistings.com. Top of every single page, you get that Pro Support option. Click on it, and it's going to dive you right into that Pro Support Center. It's brand new, it's fresh, it's clean, and it's got a lot of information that you can use 24 hours a day, as they say. Jody, I will give it back to you unless there's some questions that I can help out with. And if you think of some between now and Monday, come and ask Dave at 1 o'clock.
Great. Thanks for the update, Mark.
You bet.
As Mark mentioned, we now have our MLS Mondays here at SCCAOR that you'll hear a little bit more about later. I'd like to now introduce our third sponsor of the day, Crexi. Crexi is a new member benefit for SCCAOR members, bringing all of our commercial listings into their marketplace. Matt Kors, I believe Matt is here from Crexi to tell us a little bit more about Crexi. Welcome, Matt.
Doug, thank you so much. And thanks everybody for allowing us to present today. I'll go ahead and share my screen real quick as well. So yeah, more or less Crexi, I know obviously the MLS is just coming up. If you're not familiar with Crexi, as not everybody is, we are kind of like an MLS, more or less a one-stop shop for all your commercial real estate needs. So it is a more or less open marketplace. So what I mean by that is any broker or agent, we do not allow for sale by owners. So you have to be a broker or agent to post on our site, can post all of their inventory on a national basis for sale, for lease on our platform, free of charge. Anybody can search the platform free of charge as well on the flip side of that. We have a very large database of principals, tenants, business owners, lenders, you name it, all on the platform searching. I'm just doing a search, blanket search for the Northern California area. But again, it's a national basis where if you have listings here, but you're doing 1031s or things like that outside of the state, you can search on a national basis here. The other cool thing about that is too, you can set up an account free of charge. You can save things if you want to get notifications from us on a daily, weekly basis when new inventory hits your market. Very easy to do that as well. All of this can be set up by us at Crexi, so you can just actually have your listings inputted. Again, no extra work on your end. You can go to the site, click add listings, drop your flyers in there. They can all be posted on the database for anyone to search. From a numbers standpoint, we've got about 1.29 million monthly active users coming to the site, signing into their account, searching the inventory, and making deals happen. So that's the big benefit for you all for posting your inventory, or on the flip side for searching, should you have any searching needs. And we've got a great partnership with the association here. So if you're not familiar, it's called Fuse, but more or less it's a display for any of the commercial listings across the realtor board here. Your commercial listings can automatically, once they go into Crexi, are synced directly with the site here. So anybody can come and see that, your listings on here. And the other thing I'll say real quick too is we have a platform called Plus and Pro. They're upgraded versions of our free platform. They give you marketing, give you data, intelligence, things along those lines of what's going on in your listing, as well as what's going on in the market. And more or less, we can do trainings and things along those lines on a one-off basis. Should a broker want to find out more, you can reach out to us directly. Should anybody want to do a group or a company or an office type demo, we're happy to do that as well. But more or less, we're just very happy to be on board with the association this year and looking forward to the relationship. I can drop my email in the chat as well. Should anyone want to reach out to me directly, I'll go ahead and drop it in there. And that's, I think that's about it.
Great. Thank you, Matt. Appreciate it. This is a great new member benefit, and we're happy with our new partnership with you. We will now hear from past SCCAOR president and our current CAOR regional representative for Region 19, Santa Clara County, Gustavo Gonzalez. Gustavo will provide us with an update from our CAOR winter meetings that finished last week. Welcome, Gustavo.
You got to unmute, Gustavo.
Okay, can you guys hear me now? Doug, you're doing a great job. Thank you for being our president this year. Keep up the great work. Good afternoon or morning, everybody. My name's Gustavo Gonzalez. I am your Region 19 chair this year. So what does that mean? So let me take this whole thing back to the 50,000 foot level. There was several questions about how you can have more influence, or how we as a region can have influence at the state and at the federal level. This is how we do it at the state level, is through Region 19. That's who we represent at the Santa Clara County Association of Realtors. CAOR as a whole has 32 regions. CAOR has over 200,000 members, and we represent 6,000 plus members. And so who is representing all of you? Well, that's a great question. Let me read off our CAOR directors. We have 21 of them that are giving of their time, treasures, and talents, and they are Ryan Atler, Jen Beeler, Greg Carlston, William Shea, Frank Casillas, Kevin Cole, James Dill, Lisa Faria, Doug Goss, Greg Haas, Ann Hansen, Sandy Jameson, Carl Lee, Barbara Lamberis, Roberta Moore, Elizabeth Monley, Trisha Motter, John Pinto, Mike Sibilia, Rick Smith, and Ann Ty. Those are our 21 directors, but we also have exempt directors that are representing us. These are people that have gone above and beyond the call of duty. They're members for life. And they've just done an amazing job on our behalf. And that is Colleen Bagliaco and Dennis Badadagliaco, Steve Hanley, Bob Kulik, and Carl San Miguel. So for those of you that are listening, saying, who can I talk to about issues that are taking place at the state level? These are the individuals that are representing all of you at the state level. So let's talk about our meetings last week. What is the focus of CAOR this year? There's three main focuses. Number one is fair housing. Number two is streamlining and making transactions easier. And number three is focusing on housing supply. So what are we doing in those three areas? Well, under fair housing, CAOR has created a new diversity and fair housing committee, of which I sit on this year. And we are trying to ask ourselves, how are we serving our California realtors or our California clients, right? Are we doing the best job that we can? And we're looking at how to make sure we continue to do that. Under the streamlining and making transactions easier, I don't know if you've noticed, but when you go and log on to Zip Forms, which is what we used to do, it's called Lone Wolf now, we have Glide right next to it. That is something new. That is a member benefit that all of you pay every year when you pay your dues. And it's a great new system for transaction management. Many, many brokers and agents were paying for that. Now it's part of your member dues. So please take time to play with Glide, take some training, take a look. It's an amazing system. The next thing is focusing on housing supply. Well, we all know that it's super expensive to live here in the state of California. It's absolutely ridiculous. Here in the state, here in our county, our average sale price is about $1,347,000. I can assure you my daughter, who's going to be graduating college in 2 years, is not going to be able to afford the average price home here. We need to do something about that. So one of the things we've done is we've started a new 501c3 at the California Association of Realtors level. It's called Californians for Home Ownership Foundation. And what are they doing? What we've done is we've hired some of the best and brightest attorneys to go after the cities that are not allowing us to build ADUs. That's one of the major focuses of this committee. And we've recently sued the city of Coronado, who was not allowing for these ADUs to be built. And so if you have a client that's trying to do this and they're having issues, reach out to Californians for Home Ownership Foundation. That's what they're there to do, is to support you and your clients to make sure cities are following state legislation on this issue. Okay, what else do we have here for you? In terms of advocacy, that is really super important. RAF, Realtor Action Fund, that's where we send our money so we can advocate on behalf of all of us. What have they done lately for us? Well, somebody's already mentioned the reason why we're essential workers is because of the money that goes into the Realtor Action Fund. So I could tell you that the folks that are sitting as your CAR directors are all contributing at least $148, and many of them have contributed $25,000, $50,000 over the years. Why? Because they understand in our business, we need to have a very strong Realtor Action Fund to support those things that are important to us, which is private property rights and home ownership. So at our next meeting, I will be showing you who's participating and who's giving, because I think it's important to highlight those individuals that are really doing their jobs in supporting the real estate world. Okay, I think that's it for me. You guys have a wonderful day. Thank you so much.
Great. Thank you, Gustavo. That was a great presentation, and thank you for serving as our CAR Regional 19 Chair. We greatly appreciate all you do. Our last presenter of the day is here to provide SCORE updates. We had planned to have our CEO and the best AE in the land, as he likes to be called, Neil Collins, but unfortunately he was not able to join us, but we have an awesome replacement. Please welcome Spencer High, our SCORE Director of Member Engagement. Spencer.
Thank you so much, Doug. Hello, everyone. This has been a really great program. I've learned a ton just from watching it. Thanks for joining us today. I'm just going to take the next about 5 to 10 minutes and go over a few updates as far as SCORE, some news, and a few benefits that you may or may not know about. So everyone should be seeing my, whoops, not that one. Everyone should see my screen just about now. First thing I want to talk about is the big news is that we are now open for appointments. So, you know, during shelter in place, we kind of went back and forth between having our office open for a while. We were closed off and just serving everyone virtually. The good news is now, if you need to come in for, you know, lockbox appointment to get your lockbox or key service, you can now come into our office. We are open for a limited amount of appointments at our San Jose and Gilroy location. You can book an appointment online. It's really easy. You can reserve a time, you know, this week, next week, into the future. Super easy to reserve a time. While I'm talking, giving this update, Jody should be putting all the links into the chat for you. And some other news we have is that we are now reopening our headshots and videos. So as many of you know, this is a free member benefit. All SCORE Realtor and affiliate members can take advantage of this. Get a professional headshot taken, write a script and film a professional video right here in our SCORE studio. So this is now opened up again, and we're using the same appointment booking system. So if you go to score.com/studio, you can read a little bit more about this benefit and sign up to get your headshot taken. We're actually doing them in our large training room now. So we have a full socially distanced and safe setup. We're taking a lot of precautions to keep you safe during these appointments. So I encourage everyone to take advantage of this if you need a new headshot. So another great benefit I always like to take the time to talk about is the tech helpline. Now this one is just 100% free for you as a SCORE member. I'd like to encourage everyone now to either write down or save this phone number in your phone that you see on the screen. Put it in your phone, put it as a contact. If you ever need any kind of tech support, you know, a new computer, virus, If you have questions about your device, your phone, your tablet, your printer, just call the number and you'll get connected with a live person within minutes. They'll be able to help you. They can remote into your computer if they need to get in and clean it up or fix something for you. 100% free. As a SCORE member, you can call it as many times as you'd like. So, save that number because whenever you need it, it's going to be a lifesaver. I've called it before. It's a really great service. Speaking of hotlines, many of you know there's the CAOR legal hotline. So I'd like to remind you, in case you weren't aware, you can call this number. As a SCORE member, you're also a member of CAOR. So you can call this legal hotline number, get free legal advice over the telephone. So you are going to get connected with a CAOR lawyer. It's a great service. And in addition to that, if you have any issues, with a transaction you're working on, they've created the mortgage rescue hotline. So just like the legal hotline, it's a phone number you can call. You can get assistance, whether it's, loan qualification, down payment assistance, closing your transaction. Call the number and you will get connected with someone who can help you out. And just in case I'm going a little too quickly, I'll drop a link in the chat when I'm finished to allow you to download all of these slides. So you'll be able to download and view these PowerPoint slides after I'm done. Okay, let's talk about some upcoming events. Tomorrow is our Brunch and Learn. So please join us tomorrow, how Matterport and 3D Tours can help agents. We got some great guest speakers coming in for this Brunch and Learn event that's being put on by our affiliate committee. The link will go in the chat room, and you can always hop on our website, look at our calendar, and see these great events as well. Like we mentioned earlier, Mark Messmer talked about the MLS Monday. So this is going to be every single month. We will be joined by MLS on the 4th Monday of the month. So please join us this coming Monday. It's going to be a really great session with Dave Wetzel. Mark already talked a little bit about it, so I won't go into too many other details, but you can click the link in the chat to register. This is totally free for you. Another great free series event that we're putting on is called Legal Tuesdays. So we've already had some of these as well. They've been a big hit. Our next one will be next week on February 23rd, where we will have 2 great speakers coming in talking about trusts, wills, estates, and probate. You're going to get a ton of great information. And again, this is free, so please take advantage of this great benefit. Lastly, we just announced a new Keeping It Real panel. So as many of you may know, last year we put on a few of these panels. On March 4th, we're going to be doing the first Keeping It Real panel of the year. Tune in, you're going to get some market stats as well as listening to this great all-star top producing woman panel. You're going to get a ton of great information. And again, this will be a free event live on Zoom, just like today. So I covered a few upcoming events and classes. I encourage you to go to our website, score.com/edu, to really read about all the classes we offer. Our education committee this year is going to be putting out a ton of amazing content. There's all sorts of things, whether it's a designation course, discussing new agent training, contract classes, code of ethics training. There's really something for everyone. So go to our website, score.com/edu. And if you actually go to our website, you can view our full calendar of classes and events at score.com/calendar. And if you end up on our education website, either by clicking or typing it in below, you can actually view all of our past webinars, all of our past free webinars. You can watch them if you missed them. So this meeting as well, within a day or two will be posted up on that website if you want to rewatch and check anything out. Okay, a few more benefits. We have our SCORE store. So, we have our great store in our office. It is now open. If you wanted to book an appointment to shop, you can book an appointment and come in to shop. However, we've really renovated our shop so you can buy things online and then have it scheduled for a curbside pickup. So I'd encourage everyone to go to our new store, new and improved shopping experience. Take a look at all the products we have to offer. You can make the purchase online and then drive by our office and we'll do curbside pickup for you. And lastly, I want to make this announcement. Many of you may have heard we've announced at our weekly marketing meetings, we have a new app called the SCORE Source. This is really focused on our affiliate members. So it's kind of replacing the printed affiliate service guide. It's a digital app that allows you to view all of our affiliates, special sales and offers that they're providing, contact information. It's totally free. It's available on the Apple App Store or the Google Play Store. And if you go to the website listed below, you can get a quick link to download it right on your phone. So I'd encourage you guys all to download that app, keep it on your phone whenever you need, any kind of service provider. Fire up the app. You could browse by category or search within the app, and you will get connected with a SCORE affiliate. And that concludes my SCORE update. So I'll turn it back over to you, Doug. Thank you so much.
Great. Thanks, Spencer. Thanks for stepping in. Job well done. Jody, do we have any additional questions from our members before we finish up?
Sure. Sean and Christian, if you have a couple, I know that Sean's been answering some of the questions, and there's a question about healthcare options through SCCAOR. I don't know if Sean can answer that. I know that there's a lot of information if you go to SCCAOR.org, and you can probably search. Doug, do you have any experience with finding any of those member benefits on there?
Yeah, there's so much information on the SCCAOR website. I would just encourage everyone to log in there, and depending on what your needs are.
Yep. Let's see. So Sean, there's I think one of the questions of the month or of the year so far. And I don't know how deeply, but maybe you can provide some insight. What's going on in Sacramento with Prop 19? I know that I've heard that maybe there's some tag-along bills or updates to it. So something high level.
So as you know, with Prop 19 passing in the November general election, there's 2 inaction dates. There's the February 16th date, which just passed. And that is the date that the new intergenerational transfers rules will go into place, meaning that under the old law, a parent or a grandparent could transfer a property to their children or grandchildren if the parents are deceased, and the kids can take over that property and pay the same property tax base. The new rules that go into effect basically say that you have to make that property a primary residence for the child, and then it caps it at $1 million as far as the increased value between when you the difference between the assessed value and what the market value is. The other date is the portability part, allowing people to transfer their property tax base from one home to another. That goes into effect March 1st. Now, with those dates and with the passage of Proposition 19, there has been some ambiguities raised as far as those dates. And as you know, with previously Prop 60 and 90, it gives you 2 years for the process. So some questions arose over, well, what if I started the process 2 years prior to April 1st, or sorry, February 16th or April 1st? Does that, do I still have that? And we're confident that yes, you can go back 2 years from April 1st if you maybe sold your house 2 years before April 1st, and then after April 1st, sell your house. That would count. The question is, though, does the Proposition 19 really, in fact, say that? And so we are working on some cleanup legislation, which is typical after a measure passes or a bill is signed into law, to kind of iron out these ambiguities. And what I would suggest to your members is that first, you're not in the position as a realtor to be giving legal advice or estate advice. We leave that in the hands of attorneys and tax professionals. So don't feel like that's your fiduciary duty. You raise the issue and get yourself covered by having an attorney look at this. I would go directly to the county assessor where the property is located and ask how they're interpreting it. They might point you to the Board of Equalization. And lastly, I'll tell you, we're working with all 3 of those groups: the county assessors, the Board of Equalization, and actually the legislature and the state, different departments in the state, to iron out these. And we're hoping to get something to the governor's desk any day now to try to clear up these resolutions. I also would encourage you to go to our legal website. And if you look under risk management and the Q&As, I believe it's located under property tax. And there's a whole section on Proposition 19 from our lawyers that you can fall back on as well. All right.
Thank you. I think that was one of the biggest questions. And as Sean said, March 1st, it is April 1st for that portability date.
Thank you.
So
April Fool's Day.
Yep.
Thanks for that question.
It's not a joke. So I think those are all the questions that we're going to have for now. I know we're at the top of the hour. So Doug?
Great. Well, thank you. Everybody, Tommy, Christian, Sean, Mark, Gustavo, Spencer, thank you for speaking today, as well as thank you to our sponsors, HomeGuard, Off Fresh Carpet, and Crexy. We certainly value you as our sponsors, so thank you so much for being here. As you know, staying current on changes and trends going on in our industry, it's important for all of us in our business. And I found that the more I'm involved with SCORE, CAR, and NAR, the more I learn and understand what's going on with the issues at the local, state, and national level that affect our industry and private property rights. And I'm able to apply that knowledge to improve my business, and getting involved can help you with your business too. Christian and Sean touched on what they do at the national and state level, which is so important to all of us in this profession. And locally, we have our government affairs director, Tim Bobian, who does a great job in this role locally. At SCORE, we're always looking for our members to get involved. There's lots of ways for you to get involved with our committees and leadership. I started volunteering at SCORE many years ago in the education committee, served on the grievance committee and our foundation. There's lots of ways to get involved. So we're always looking for members to join us. If you're interested, you can go to the website, SCORE's website, get more information, contact any of the SCORE staff, or feel to reach out to me directly. So since we're out of time here, I just want to thank everyone for attending, and we'll conclude this meeting, and have a great rest of the day, everybody. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you, everyone. Thanks, Doug.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, everyone.